All right, what's up, smooth operators? So, a lot of you probably are like, I don't, there's a lot of stuff on this ballot, and I don't even know how to research anything or like those sort of things. So, I'm going to tell you how to do it. First of all, get a cat. It's just a good idea. This one was found in a yard. So, boom. Next thing, get some kind of device that can go on the internet. I realize that that's difficult for some people to have happen, but do it. Get your drinks ready to go, including your reusable straw, because that's how you do. In California, we get these right here. Boom. And you get this guy. I'm gonna go over the props later because they're fucking confusing. So first of all on your ballot, this is just a sample ballot that I'm gonna use first before I go for that bad boy over there. First of all, you're gonna need to mark, yeah, please do that. Fuck you, fuck you, fuck you, I don't even know you. Please don't let us end up with this trash again. So in my state races, I know who I'm going to vote for. In my House of Reps, we don't have a senator from the state running this time, but Jackie Spears is a straight up baller. She was actually on the trip where Jim Jones people killed a bunch of people, like killed a congressman and stuff. So I just have always liked her. I've liked what she's done. To choose my state senator, that's where you're going to get in here. You're going to be on your computer and look up these people. Google their names, see what they stand for. I chose Josh because he's already been our person and I like him okay. So I'm cool with his positions. You can go onto their websites, you can look at what their priorities are, scroll through that stuff, and just there we go. So I chose him. For my state assembly person, I also don't need to look them up. Kevin, he's my dude. He's done a good job, so it's fine for that to happen. In terms of San Mateo County Board of Education, go in, look there, and see who the people are and compare them. Now this one, I don't know either of these people, so this site is this Voter's Edge thing, or Voter's Edge. You can compare the candidates, see what all their business is, where did they go to school. The reason that I picked this lady as my vote is because she has, why did I pick it? Oh, because she's been a teacher. I like people who have been teachers to do school board stuff because they just get it more than other people. And to be on Board of Education, I just feel like if you haven't been a teacher, you're not necessarily going to know. This guy, he also looked good because he worked for the First Five board, but ultimately her being a teacher kind of went out for me. But you vote for whoever you want to, you know. Up next, we have the San Mateo County College Board. I voted for this guy. So I looked at both of them. Let's see here. Because it talked about them in this article. The reason why I voted for Goodman is that he, let's see, I think he runs a nonprofit. Yeah. He runs a nonprofit that helps kids that are disadvantaged. Those are the people that need, like, just need people like that. This guy lives in Hillsboro. Hillsboro is very bougie, and you have to be super rich to live there. And he sent a ton of stuff in the mail. And I didn't get anything from the other guy. However, I'm not going to hold that against Goodman because he's probably not a rich, bougie dude who could afford to do stuff like that. So in terms of like their endorsements and stuff, you know, I don't pay as much attention to that unless there's a politician that I really hate. Like if there was a Democrat that Trump was endorsing, forget about it. All right, next. Over here, we have a school board thing again. So again, like, look them up. Google San Mateo Union High School Board of Trustees and who is going to be in it. So there's a news article. This one, you only get one free article a month or something like that. So just, you know, pay attention to that. But yeah, so this talks about what their positions are on things. They have these already. So I picked him. I can't even remember why. But with her, she is a disability rights advocate, and that is important. We need to have more people who are within communities to be the ones to help represent the people that are the most vulnerable, and people with disabilities most definitely are. After that, we got a school board election. Again, I got some mailers from these people. The reason I picked these two people on their websites, let me see if I have their. These two are parents of kids that are in the district. And that is really important to me. Like, if you have children that currently attend the schools, San Bruno schools, our intermediate and high schools are pretty decent. The elementary schools, the one in my neighborhood is a 1 on great schools out of 10. And so to me that says, like, we need people who are going to be on school board who know what the problems are and are willing to fix it, because this area is way too rich for us to not have that, to not have good schools. And, you know, my idea basically is a lot of the children at the school in my neighborhood are English language learners, Spanish speaking. Why are we not making that a Spanish immersion school? I don't understand it. Like, why wouldn't we do that? Then it can get those kids completely fluent in their first language, get the other kids who aren't a very excellent skill, which is communication. And yeah, so that's Laurel's idea, at least. After that, we have Mayor San Bruno. So again, Google these people's names. Current mayor, we have a gigantic deficit in San Bruno, which is not something that other cities in San Mateo County have. And I guess it just kind of starts at the top. See, Lulu doesn't even like that. Do you like deficits, Lulu? She doesn't like it. She thinks that's some bullshit. So I'm like, nah, I'm going to go for this lady. Now this lady, she had people going around putting this stuff on the doors. So I like that. She's got some street game happening up there. City council. So again, look up these people. This is the guy who's the current mayor. And see who you like. This guy is one of the ones that I picked. And this guy is the other guy that I picked. Just because I looked at their policies that they had. I liked their positions on things. And this is like the last guy that's running, but yeah. But they all kind of sent out some mailers and different things. Uh-oh, I'm showing you my address. I'll blur that out later. And I'll do a couple, because now it goes into the propositions, a couple local ones. Measure X is just for San Bruno. That is increasing the hotel tax to help fund extra things. I'm like, hey, let's do it. This one is if we end up having cannabis dispensaries, which you don't have in the city currently, that they would have a 10% business tax on their license. So it wouldn't be like 10% tax on weed. It would just be on them to actually get their license. So I was like, that's fine with me. And those, like, if you go onto your city's website, a lot of the time they will talk about the little local measures. This one, it has arguments for and against, impartial analysis of it. So it's just a good idea. And then the final thing on those is Measure RR, which is about Caltrain. And this is our local site. KQED is our like PBS kind of station. And they did a forum, which is one of their shows on it. So you could like listen to people's arguments about it. Caltrain is one of the larger train commuter services within the country. Not the largest, of course, but it runs from Santa Clara County up into San Francisco. So all 3 counties are voting on it. I think we have to get 2/3 vote, something like that. And ridership for that, for Caltrain has gone down a lot during the pandemic, like 90-something%, because a lot of people don't have to go to work in person. They can just do it at home. And so a lot of the revenue for Caltrain comes from ridership fares. They don't have a tax to support them like many other systems do, like BART, AZ Transit, Sam's Transit, like all the other like transit systems in the area pretty much have a tax to help support them. And this one I think is a sales tax. It's 1/8%, but it's just hopefully mainly just to get it through this time period, and they may undo it. But I like to keep all of my like voter stuff together. I just put it together, then I can look at it and kind of see. And in some cases it decides my vote. Like the guy who sent me a bunch of stuff, I was like, you have a lot of money, interestingly. But I guess that could just mean you're getting a bunch of donations. All right. So that's that. Yeah. So just let's look stuff up. Like use a search engine, whatever one you want, and look it up and find out who these people are that you're voting for. What do they support for you? Because the most important thing is to get your voice out there, to actually vote, and to be informed. And say you don't know, like you're like, I don't know about the mayor. Like I have no idea. Well, cool. Don't vote on that topic if you don't want to. You don't have to vote any one way or the other. You know, I know somebody who was like, I don't like either candidate for president that's like the most popular too. I just don't. That's cool. Like you don't have to vote for anybody on anything in it, but vote for the stuff that's important to you. And then I'll do something about the propositions because there's so many in California. Yes, so it is many hours later, and now I'm going to tell you about my proposition choices and decision-making shit on those. So we're going to make them respect you, which is a very excellent brand. And I'm using one of my favorite chapsticks by Hurrah. Boom. Little product endorsement there, even though I'm not getting paid. So, up next. Okay, so first thing I wanted to talk to you about is media bias. Now, when you're looking up stuff, you're trying to figure out things, it's kind of helpful to know where the heck do companies that produce our news kind of have their bias laid out at. Generally, you want to look at news sources that are within this box, which, as you can tell, there are a lot more liberal sources or leaning liberal, even though some of them are more in the neutral zone, than there are of conservative ones. And a lot of the conservative ones tend to be skewed down into the more unreliable zone. So, Associated Press, that's one of the really good ones. The Weather Channel, because they're like, it's the weather. If you want a more conservative but reliable media source, Wall Street Journal is a good bet for you. Strangely, the New York Post falls down here, even though they have weird stories about hard drives and nobody's buying it. Y'all, it's stupidness. But there are a lot of good choices over here. I know everybody on the right hates CNN, but they're actually not terribly off. They're more mixture of facts and analysis. And I think that's the news site. This is the television. So the television's further down, not as good, but the written stuff, pretty good. But yeah, Associated Press if you want that. And generally like NPR, PBS stations, stuff like that are going to be pretty good. So this is a great site to look at. This is the people who are the biggest donors. Sorry that it's scrolling so fast, but these are the biggest donors to the various propositions. And this is California's site. I don't know if other states have it, but it kind of tells you like who are the people who have given the most money to stuff. KQED, which is our PBS station in Northern California area and Bay Area, they have this great California props thing. It talks about other state stuff too. But starting with Prop 14, I went with their article about it. And so this will continue a program that gives out grants for stem cell research. Now, some people are opposed to stem cell research because they don't want embryonic stuff done with it. I am fine with that. Like, hey, it's cool. However, this baby is going to cost $5.5 billion. And I really wavered back and forth on it, but a lot of private companies and billionaires and stuff like that are investing in stem cell stuff. California, if we pay for something that helps create it, we can't get any equity in it. So any money that's made from it, even if it's one of our universities or a private company or a nonprofit, we don't get any of that back, which is because of a different law. It's not because of how the stem cell laws were worded in 2004. There have been some breakthroughs with stem cell research, like the kids that don't have any immune systems and things like that. But honestly, it's a lot of money to spend right now. And so hopefully private industry will just be able to keep up with it. Prop 15. This one is a very sneaky way to try to screw up Prop 13, which is an old school law. I think it was passed in 78, where your property tax doesn't go up in California from your initial purchase price. And this is to try to change it so businesses would have to pay more rather than like homeowners. And smaller businesses, less than $3 million revenue, I think, are exempt from it. But nonetheless, I don't like people messing around with Prop 13. It's just a way to chip away at it. And they're like, oh, they won't go for the houses. Yeah, they will. And it'll mess up most people in California because our property values do go up. My house is almost doubled in value, so I would be paying way more in property taxes, and I'm selfish, I'll admit it. I don't want to pay more property taxes, but at the same time, it would up rental properties if they got rid of the residential aspect of it too. Granted, this doesn't do that, but it's just the plans. So I looked at a New York Times article about it. They are one of my favorite news sources. They are slanted liberal, but they do attempt to do the best on that. So then we have the Affirmative Action Bill. So federally, there are limits to this anyway, so it wouldn't just completely alter how things have been functioning. But given the inequities that we have right now, I think that we need to have this in place because I think socioeconomic status is more of a factor with it. But yeah, So I did look at a couple different news articles for this. This is the National Review. They are very conservative type place. They are in opposition to it. And then I also looked at the Associated Press, which they said a lot of the stuff that is in the voter's guide, which is this bad boy. So I just am like, I'm good with it. I'm okay with that coming back. Prop 17 right here. This makes it so instead of people who are on parole or probation not being able to vote if they have felony convictions, it makes it so once they're released from prison, they can vote. And I just think this is a better idea. If they finish their prison time, then they should be able to do it. This is just an article that's about the states that have different laws for it, and actually there are a few number of states that have this as well. So I just stop punishing people after they're out of prison. Just stop punishing them. And they're like, oh, well, the 50% commit another felony and they go back in. Fine, then they don't get to vote while they're in prison again. That's a stupid reason to disenfranchise so many people, because probation and parole can last a long time. They can be 5 years. So that's 5 years of that person losing their right to vote, and it's just too severe of a penalty. Prop 18. So this would allow 17-year-olds to vote in the primary elections if they are going to be 18 by the time the general election happens. Let's get them voting early. Let's just do it. It's fine. Everything will be okay. Prop 19. This is about property taxes. It allows people who are over 55, disabled, or if they've been in a wildfire, disaster, anything kind of like that, and they need to transfer to a new home, their property taxes from their primary residence will be carried over to the new one, even if it's more expensive. Now, already people who are over 55 and disabled can do this one time. This expands it to 3 times. And I can't remember about the wildfire people, but also, if you are not going to use a property as your primary residence that you have inherited within a year of it being inherited, then the property taxes on that reverts to the fair market value of the house at that period of time. So if your parent dies, you get their house, then if you don't move into it, you're going to use it as a rental or whatever, then you're going to be paying higher property taxes on it. Yeah, I wasn't into that. It just seems weird, and I didn't like it. So I was going to go with a no on that one. Prop 20. This is, it makes certain misdemeanor crimes felonies. So it makes them more strict with the laws. And they're like, if it's between $250 and $950 worth of theft, then that could be made a felony. And like, if it's part of some kind of scheme to steal from stores, I don't know. It just, no. Prop 21. This allows cities to enact rent control. So we have a statewide rent control, but this one would allow cities to be able to do it on their own. And it would also change their ability to have the date set on their rent-controlled properties from 15 years and forward. So that would introduce a lot more places into rent control. They think it might mess up the development, but honestly, we need to do something to protect people. The fact that like I lived in a city with no rent control, and they would raise my rent $100, $200. It went up like $500 the whole time I was living there, which is insane. So it needs to be fixed. It still leaves out single family homes or people who only rent out a couple. And it also makes it so they cannot raise the rent more than like 15% over the first 3 years after the tenants, like, so if a tenant moves out and a new one moves in, before there's like no protections whatsoever. Like, you can raise the rent ridiculously after that tenant moves out. This one would make it so you could only raise it 15%, like basically like 5% each year for the first 3 years. So I find that one more satisfactory. Prop 22, fuck apt-based shit. Seriously, they are trying to be raggedy on this one, and they have spent so much money. No, these are employees. You need to pay for workers' comp. You need to do all the stuff that you're supposed to do, because these are employees. It would be different if it was like a musician and they played at a bar once a week for 5 hours. That's a contractor. That's an independent contractor, not somebody who drives Uber like 50 hours a week. Come on, man. So, no. This one, state rights for dialysis. Stop trying to mess around with dialysis clinics. No. Consumer privacy stuff. So they already passed a law about this. This is written by the same person who got that law passed to make it more strict in some ways and less strict in other ways. And I'm just like, let's just allow this to play out. Hopefully, if there's things that aren't working out that well, then the legislature can deal with it, because the law had only been in effect for like a month or two by the time this was written. So, yeah. And then the bail system. So bail companies were mad that this SB 10 passed and put it to a referendum to try to get people to keep the cash bail system by voting no on it. No, we don't. I don't want cash bail. It keeps people in jail and stuff because they're poor. So no, no, I'm not into that. Sorry, I forgot to show you more. So this was the KQED Prop 21 stuff. It looks pretty cool. This one is about, I think, Prop 24. I didn't even look up stuff on 22 and 23 because I knew how I was going to vote on those. There's on Prop 24. This is through ABC 10. Local news stations are a great place to get information from. Oftentimes they have research things. They're not like necessarily as biased. They may have some reporters one way or the other, but generally I like them a lot. And then again, this is KQED talking about the cash bail system for Prop 25. So just research stuff. If you need to look up something, let's see here if we have this here. So if you need to Google something to tell you how to look it up, just type in like whatever prop you want, Prop 24, California 2020. Make sure to put the year because there are different ones for different years. So yeah, let's go to the top and show you how I did that. Yeah, so just do it like that. And it's pretty easy to find out information. I was kind of fooling around for a while, so that's why it's taken me so long, because it's like 8:30 and I started this whole process of trying to look through my ballot stuff at 2:30. But I was messing around for a lot of it, let's admit. Also up in here, you got your reference guide from California. It's got all the info on the props. It's got for, against stuff, rebuttals. It might help you make up your mind. And so that's cool. And then I had a bunch of stuff that was like mailers, different things that I got. And so that also kind of helped me vote on stuff, but I didn't vote exactly as it says on things. So Quality California. This is my union. No. These other guys here, my union handed this out in our building. See, this is also what turned me off to Prop 15. They were handing these out in my office building. Our office building is closed to the public. There was no reason for them to have extra people in there handing out stuff. Prop 19, people were all gung-ho for that, and I had a bunch of those, so no. Then there's a bunch of these Prop 22s. They're really hustling on that. They spent that $40 million trying to get these bad boys out. And one no. And then these ones are for no on 23, which is that one. And I agree with their sentiments on that. So there are those things too. So keep this stuff from your mail and go for it. Look at your stuff. But anyway, that's how I research voting. My opinions are not necessarily your opinions, so whatever you feel is going to be right, then just vote that way. But it's really important for you to vote because we need to know what people here want. But you need to be educated. You need to educate yourself and determine what you actually want. Because some of these I didn't know. I didn't know how I felt about them. I wasn't sure. I kind of knew the basics. But just educate yourself, because you got to use that critical thinking. There were some that I thought, oh, I'm going to be totally for this, like the stem cell one. After looking at it, I was like, no. And I contact people that I know are smart. My friend Jenny is smart. My friend, cousins, my dad. I contact them too to see how they voted on stuff that I'm like on the fence about, and kind of take whatever their advice is too, because it should be a dialogue. The political system should be a dialogue, and to know how this stuff affects our lives. So use your voice, fucking vote. If you haven't voted yet, drop off your ballot tomorrow. Don't mail it. It's too late for the mail. Take it to wherever the drop boxes are, or go vote in person if you have voting open right now, or if you have it on Tuesday. So also, don't vote for Trump because he sucks. Like, seriously, fuck Donald Trump. Fuck him so much. I hate him. And I hope he's not president again because he's awful. Awful. And I don't hate Republicans or anything like that. No, except for him and McConnell. McConnell's really. So please, just don't vote for him. I want to get married and stuff. Like, that would be nice. I want people to have health care. It's also nice. So that's what it is. All right. Now you've seen my bias. Vote, vote, vote. Vote.